Viewers, welcome back to another day of Hymnal Exposition, and the theme for this year is Journeying with God. Hosting today is Akintoye Omowunmi, and my beloved guest is in person of Mr. Pelumi Fawehinmi. Today's topic is consecration. So Mr. Pelumi, can you please tell us what consecration means?
Okay. Consecration in the simplest text, if we look into the Bible, can be said to be separation of an object, a place, or a person unto the service of one, which is the Christ, or to the Lord. Yes, now, one of the things we need to understand about consecration is that many times it comes in a place of preservation. Many times when we think about consecration, we think of us giving God something in return for something. We see consecration many times as a transaction between God and man. But in the real sense, it is to preserve a man for God. See, consecration is always introduced when God is looking for a vessel to house a spiritual resource. So if you look into Exodus 30:30, it shows Exodus 30, verse 30, it was speaking about telling Moses that he should consecrate Aaron and his sons unto God himself because of his service, which is that God needed priests to serve as the representative between him and the people. So that's an example of consecration. Now, when we look at consecration in the New Testament, we see consecration more expressed in the aspect of preservation, which is at the beginning, man fell. Man lost the two ingredients that made him what he was, which is the likeness and the image of God.
Yes, sir.
And then by salvation, you read in Romans 6 from verse 6 to 8, it expressed how man was brought back from death, and both that image and the likeness was restored. So then it read on and said that we are no more dead. We are now dead to this thing. We are no more like them. So it is needed, necessary for us now that we begin to act in a new way. So that's where he now starts giving us consecrations of things we are supposed to give away and things we are going to pick. That's why you see Paul say things like, all things are lawful, but not all things are expedient. Yes, now, consecration always involves sacrifice. You cannot speak consecration without sacrifice. If you are saying, okay, I'm consecrated, and we do not see any iota of sacrifice, then you cannot call it consecration. It's just you just choosing something and you're saying, okay, God, I'll give you this. In return, I want this. That's not consecration. It's you that you have come to a point where you acknowledge that, okay, I don't want to just stay a believer, a Christian. We all know that everybody's a Christian, but not everybody is consecrated. It's like our Bible says that we are all sons of God, but not all of us are servants. You will see times when Paul will say things like, I, Paul, a bond servant. In the book of Exodus, when Moses was explaining what bond servant is, a man is not a servant in the real sense. It's a man that has done his service and decides that, okay, I still love my master. I still want to serve him. It is a willing thing. That's why you see in Hebrews 12, he was telling that let man go on to entreat God. Now, you have seen that, okay, you want to serve God. Now, then you go to meet God and say, God, I want to serve you. what should I do? Then God tells you, okay, give me this. Give me this. It is always even sacrifice. Like now, let's take for example, when most of us got born again and got serious with God, one of these things we will see that God began to take things away from us. Things like certain friendships, secular music, certain movies. Some of us, God took movies entirely away from us. I remember when I was in school, I had 300 level, and then I had this experience with God. I told God that, okay, I wanted to get more serious with Him. And what God did for me was that He first truncated my academics. I remember we always sing this song by one of these songs by Tilo Sunday that I give myself to you. Then I had to begin to pray that, okay, God, what is this? And then He began to explain that you have told me you want to consecrate yourself to me, and now I want this. It took movies. That's consecration. Consecration can be anything. It can be fasting. It can be people. It can be activities. Anything can be consecration.
Thank you very much, Bro Pelumi. So from what you just said now, you said that consecration is something that you separate onto something that which is God. Now for viewers at home that might be confused on, okay, how do I know this thing to separate? What exactly do I need to separate? Is it coming from me, or is it God that will instruct me? So can you please bring a balance to this, sir?
Okay. When we talk about consecration, it is always a joint venture. That means there is an input from man and there is an input from God. Like I said before, I said in Hebrews 12, the writer said something there that I said that now I will go and entreat God.
Okay.
Now that's the first input of man. Man does not choose what he wants to give in consecration.
Exactly.
He is just to go and meet God, and then God tells him what he wants. God is the one to give the command and give the demand.
Okay.
It is now for man to follow up with the demand.
Yes.
You see, Jesus said that I do not do anything of my own. I do only the thing I see my Father doing. So that is the same thing now. When we go to meet God, that, okay, God, I want to walk with you closer. I want to be more closer with you. I want to be different from everybody else. Then God looks at us and looks at what He knows we had for us to sacrifice. Anything that is sacrificed is not meant to be easy, even especially when it is spiritual. It means that you are. It's not something that maybe some of people consecration can be prayer. For another man, it's not prayer. Why? Because like now, you are telling me to wake up and pray 6 hours every day. That's not going to be easy. Now, it is a consecration for me. I want you to pray 6 hours every day. That's a consecration. It is a demand from God.
So God is asking that particular person to devote himself to
prayer. That's a consecration. So another man can be movies. God looks at what you have become attached to and then asks for it. You see the same thing He did with Abraham. He said, Abraham, give me your son, your only beloved son. Because He knew that Isaac at that point was already taking the place of God. Essentially, consecration is about God taking anything that is trying to fit the God-sized hole in man.
True. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir. So viewers at home, you've heard what our brother has said. He said consecration is that thing that is already taking the place of God in your life, and it is appropriate. The best place to go to is to ask God. You cannot on your own know that thing that is actually obstructing your connection or your connection or your fellowship with God. So the best thing to do is to go to God and to inquire from God. Oh God, what is that thing that I need to dedicate? What is that thing that will stop me from having a perfect or cordial relationship or fellowship with you? And if we take this step, bet me it is the best way to do it. It is not just by deciding on your own self on that thing you need to do. He said it's a two-way thing, but the best thing to do is to ask God, and God will shed more light on it. Thank you very much, sir. So another question is, for those that they've started working in this part of course, they've started already, and at some point maybe they felt weak, or they were not actually in that part anymore. They've stopped doing that thing and they felt like, oh, my life is this, my life is down. How can I do it? How can I bring back that thing that I've been devoting to God? How can I restore it back? So how can you help this particular set of people, sir?
Okay, the psalmist said something. He said, restore unto me the joy of my salvation and uphold me with thy free spirit. Now, one of the things we need to understand is that when we start the journey of consecration, it is never meant to be easy. It is never going to be easy. Let us be frank and candid with ourselves.
Honestly.
Now, one thing we need to understand that when God gives a demand, it is not meant for man. I like to call it God-sized assignment. He is meant to help you. Now, okay, I give you a demand of this. When you check yourself, you see that you don't have the capability to do it. But you are supposed to even go back again to God. He's the one that gave the demand, but he's still the one that's going to help you fulfill the demand. There is no demand that God gives that can be fulfilled by the power of man. That's why he says, it says, not by power, not by might, but by my spirit. Now, one of the things that many times break consecration is sin. Well, like I said before, what consecration does is preservation. But when we break that edge, preservation lose, sin enters, and then the gap begins to appear. It is for us to go back to God and tell God, okay, I've made this mistake. That's the best way. Don't try to patch it up. You can't patch what is broken up.
Yes, sir.
You have to go back, make him reform the clay, and begin to remold. That's what's the best thing to do.
All right, thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Viewers at home, you've heard from our brother, Dr. Pelumi. So it is not a thing that after you've lose that gap, after you've lose that edge, don't depend on yourself. Please go back to God. He's the only one that restores. He's the only one that empowers. He's the only one that will rekindle that strength and that fire back in us. I pray that the Lord will help us in Jesus' name. All right, this is a journey, as we said, journeying with God, and this program is a continuous one. Please kindly keep following, like, share, and comment. Thank you for watching. God bless you.